Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we will be discussing the end of Act 1. We'll meet some important characters such as the nurse and Romeo's best friend Mercutio. We'll also be drawing our attention to two literary devices. The first is pun and the second is foreshadowing. Let's get started. The scene begins in the Capulet household, and we see the family preparing for the night's festivities. We meet a young Juliet who is being beckoned by her mother. Her mother intends to talk to Juliet about her marriage to Paris, that he'll be at tonight's events, and that they should start getting to know each other and socializing because they are due to be married. We also meet the nurse, and she is a very important character. Think of the nurse as a nanny. The nurse is hired by the Capulet family and works for them, doing such things as cleaning, organizing their lives, and mostly child rearing. So it's important for you to know that the nurse serves as Juliet's mother. We can see in the following clip that Juliet's mother, though nice and well-intentioned, is rather cold and distant towards her daughter, and it's the nurse who hugs and caresses Juliet, and we'll see that the nurse is loud and funny and vivacious and talkative and even a bit outrageous. On this slide, I've outlined some of the quotes that the nurse has said that really show us how close her and Juliet really are. So the nurse says, "And she was weaned," meaning that the nurse, not Juliet's actual mother, was the one who breastfed Juliet when she was an infant. The nurse also says that she was the prettiest babe that she ever nursed, and she hopes to see Juliet married once. That's her wish. Now we're going to watch a clip of Act 1, Scene 3, where we meet Juliet. We will understand some of the family dynamics and see how close the nurse is to Juliet. They act like mother and daughter rather than Capulet daughter and servant. We'll also see that Lady Capulet, Juliet's real mother, is rather distant, and we'll gather that the nurse loves to talk, she cannot be stopped, and she's quite outrageous, and also that the whole family holds a positive opinion of Paris, who is due to be Juliet's husband, and Juliet has a good attitude going into the arranged marriage, but you can tell she's a bit shy and hesitant. Let's see.
Juliet!
Oh no, who calls?
Your mother, your lady mother. Mother, your lady mother. Make haste, girl, make haste. Where were you?
Madam, I am here. What is your will?
This is the matter.
Make haste, girls. Come on,
Nurse, give leave a while. We must talk in secret. Nurse, come back again. I have remembered me. Thou'st hear our counsel.
Thou knowest my daughter's of a pretty age.
Faith, I can tell her age unto an hour.
She's not 14.
I'll lay 14 of my teeth. And yet to my teen be it spoke, I have but 4. She's not 14. How long is it now to Lammas tide?
A fortnight, an odd day.
Even a rod of all the days of the year come Lammas eve at night shall she be 14. Susan and she, God rest all Christian souls, were of an age. Well, Susan is with God, she was too good for me. But as I said, on Lammas eve at night shall she be 14. That shall she marry, I remember it well. My lord and you were then at Mantua, nay, I do bear a brain. For then she could stand high lone. Nay, by the rood, she could have run and waddled all about. For even the day before she broke her brow. And then my husband, oh, God rest his soul, were a merry man, took up the child. Yea, quoth he, dost thou fall upon thy face? Thou wilt fall backward when thou hast more wit, wilt thou not, Jewel?
Nurse!
And by my holy dame, the pretty wretch left crying and said, aye.
Enough of this, I pray thee. Hold thy peace.
madam.
Now, Juliet.
God mark thee to his grace. Thou wast the prettiest babe that e'er I nursed. And I might live to see thee married once. I have my wish.
Marry? That marry is the very theme I came to talk of. Tell me, daughter Juliet, how stands your disposition to be married?
It is an honor that I dream not of.
An honor? What I... Juliet!
Meanwhile, Romeo and his friends are preparing for the party this evening. Remember, they are crashing the party. They were accidentally invited by the illiterate servant. So Romeo and Benvolio are crashing this party. But fear not, they'll be wearing masks, so it will be difficult for people to find out their true identity. Before I talk about scene 4, I want to talk about a literary device that Romeo uses early on, which is called a pun. I think many of you will have heard of it before. So by definition, a pun is a joke concerning the different meanings of words that sound the same. So if you look at the visuals on the left, I have 2 examples of puns. The first shows a bunch of bottles saying that a cooler is so cool. And that is a pun because it is a play on the 2 different meanings of cool, as in cold, and cool as in awesome. And we can tell that that cooler is not only cool because he's full of ice, but he's also awesome because he's wearing some cool shades. And similarly, below that, we can see a planet calling the sun bright. And the sun is bright because it has a strong light, meaning bright, but he has glasses, a bow tie, and a book, so you can also use the meaning of bright as in intelligent. So that is an example of pun. Romeo uses it in the following, quote, "Not I, believe me. You have dancing shoes with nimble soles. I have a soul of lead, so stakes me to the ground and I cannot move." Here, remember, Romeo is moody and mopey and still sad over Rosaline. He's claiming that he can't have fun at the party because his soul is heavy with sadness, and the soles, as in the bottom of his feet, are also heavy too, meaning he can't pick up his feet to move. So that is a clever example of pun because the speaker is using soul in 2 different ways. S-O-L-E, as in the bottom of a shoe, as well as S-O-U-L, as in your spirit, and he's saying that both are rather heavy and depressed. As the boys walk to the party, Mercutio takes center stage. We quickly learn that he's fun, he's a jokester, and he hates seeing his best friend Romeo down in the dumps. So Mercutio, in an effort to cheer Romeo up and annoyed at his poor demeanor, goes on a long rant known as the Queen Mab speech. If you look in the right-hand corner, I've attached an image of Queen Mab. She's a fairy, and the folklore goes that she's an evil, angry fairy who travels around in the night, entering people's dreams and basically causing chaos. So here are a few quotes from Mercutio's Queen Mab speech. He says to Romy, "Oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. That's why you're in such a bad mood. She is the fairy's midwife, and she comes through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. But when they wake up, which off the angry Mab with blisters plague their lips, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted are, which once untangled must misfortune bodes." So he's describing this fairy who enters people's dreams, and because she's jealous of young lovers and other beautiful people, when they wake up they'll find blisters, ugly, oozing, bloody blisters on their lips, sent there by Queen Mab because she's jealous of them. And Mercutio posits that Romeo perhaps has been visited by Queen Mab. Romeo, of course, denies this, and the 2 of them have an uncomfortable situation where you can tell they're quite angry at each other. Romeo is angry that Mercutio is giving this crazy, creepy speech, and Mercutio is just angry at Romeo because Romeo's being a party pooper, basically. Once Mercutio finishes his Queen Mab speech, Romeo shares a few words that are a perfect example of foreshadowing. This literary device, foreshadowing, refers to clues given by the author or playwright to suggest what will take place later on, and Shakespeare uses foreshadowing to create an ominous or scary or creepy tone or feeling in the play. So if you look at the word foreshadowing, an easy way to remember what it is it starts F-O-R-E, similar to the word before. So foreshadowing is information you gather beforehand that sheds light on maybe some events that are to come. Maybe not, or maybe so. So Romeo, once Mercutio finishes his rant and his friends gallivant off to the party, stays behind because he's feeling uneasy. Romeo says, to no one in particular, he says, I fear too early, for my mind misgives some consequence, yet hanging in the stars. He feels that there is some bad luck brewing in the air, and something unfortunate may happen. He continues, by some vile forfeit of untimely death. But he that hath the steerage of my course, direct my sail. So that translates to Romeo thinking that something tonight is going to go awry that might lead to my untimely death. Anyone can tell you Romeo hit the nail on the head. He's totally correct. Once he meets Juliet this evening, it'll lead to both of their deaths. So that's a perfect example of foreshadowing because we're finding out, yes, Romeo, this creepy, ominous feeling you're getting is justified. I also highlighted in red stars because that has to do with the theme of fate we've been discussing this whole play, meaning Romeo believes that there is a higher power, in his own words, directing his sail, as if he's a sailboat and the wind is going to blow him wherever it chooses to do. And he seems to be at the mercy of fate, right? Willingly saying, okay, I think this party might eventually end up killing me, but he that hath the steerage of my course, go ahead and direct my sail. He says, game on, let's do it. And he runs off to the party. Now we can watch the scene. We'll learn a lot about Mercutio's personality, how he's a crowd pleaser and a jokester. He loves to have a good laugh. We'll also listen to his Queen Mab speech, which you can see kind of goes off the rails and creates a very creepy feeling in the atmosphere. And at the end of this clip, pay close attention to the words I just read out to you, Romeo's foreshadowing of the night that will unfold and his untimely death that he'll soon meet.
Then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth o'er a soldier's neck, and then dreams he of cutting foreign throats, of breeches and descados, Spanish blades, drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and being thus frighted, swears a prayer or two. And sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elf-locks in foul Scottish hairs, which once untangled, much misfortune bodes. This is the hag, when maids lie on their backs, that presses them, and learns them first to bear, making them women of good carriage. This is she! This is she that... This is she.
Peace, Mercutio, peace. Thou talk'st of nothing. Thou talk'st of nothing.
True, true. I talk of dreams, which are the children of an idle brain, begot of nothing but vain fantasy, which is as thin of substance as the air.
and more inconstant than the wind, who woos even now the frozen bosom of the north, and being angered puffs away from thence, turning his side to the dew-dropping south.
This wind you talk of blows us from ourselves. Strike, drum! On, lusty gentlemen! Supper is done! Right soon. Romeo, we shall arrive too late!
I fear too early, for my mind misgives some consequence yet hanging in the stars shall bitterly begin his fearful date with this night's revels, and expire the term of a despised life closed in my breast by some vile forfeit of untimely death. But he that hath the steerage of my course, direct my sail.
The end of scene 4 showed Romeo and his friends running off to the party, and scene 5 picks off right there at the Capulet party. So Tybalt, remember fiery, angry Tybalt, actually sees Romeo, and he sees that there's a Montague crashing his family party, and big surprise, Tybalt is furious. He wants to go over there and beat up Romeo and throw him out. So he goes over to his uncle, Lord Capulet, right, the man of the household, and he says, "Uncle, look, it's a Montague. Aren't you angry? Let's go cause some chaos and rough him up." And Lord Capulet has a much more gentle approach to this situation. Lord Capulet sees that there's a Montague at his party, and Lord Capulet says, calm down, Tybalt. He can enjoy this one night. Let's not cause any drama for once, please." And he walks away, leaving Tybalt even angrier. Moments later, across the room, Romeo and Juliet lay eyes upon each other for the first time. And whether you believe it or not, some say that it was love at first sight. They go over to each other, entranced by each other's beauty, and they put palm to palm, and then they speak in a poem in which they finish each other's lines, making a joke about how praying, in which where you put palm to palm, is sort of like kissing. So they kind of share this cute innuendo before they enjoy their first kiss together. And then not long after, they're whisked away from each other for different reasons. And they both simultaneously realize the identity of their newfound love. So when Romeo finds out that he's at the house of Capulet and that's Juliet, the daughter, he says, quote, "Is she a Capulet? Oh, dear account, my life is my foe's debt." So he's miserable, realizing, oh great, I'm in love with my sworn enemy. Likewise, Juliet finds out who Romeo truly is, and she says, "My only love sprung from my only hate, too early seen, unknown, and known too late. I must love a loathed enemy." So they're both realizing that they have a rough road ahead because their love is forbidden. They should hate one another, but they don't. They are in fact very much in love. Here we can watch the clip of Romeo and Juliet's first meeting along with their first kiss. Although this is a beautiful, intimate showing of true love, it is essentially the beginning of the end.
if I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle sin is this: my lips, two blushing pilgrims ready stand to smooth the rough touch with a gentle kiss.
Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much. Which mannerly devotion shows in this? For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss.
Have not saints lips, and holy palms too?
Aye, pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer.
Oh then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray. Grant thou, lest faith turn to despair.
Saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake.
Then move not. While my prayer's effect I take. Thus, from my lips, by thine, my sin is purged.
Then have my lips a sin that they have took?
Sin from my lips? Oh, trespass sweetly urged. Give me my sin again.
Thank you for watching this video. Check out the description box for my contact information where you can email me any questions and I'll respond. Also, feel free to leave comments down below. I'll check in with this video regularly and answer all your questions to the best of my ability. I also wanted to tell you that the film I'm using, the clips you're watching in this video, are from the 1968 Romeo and Juliet by director Franco Zeffirelli, so you can watch the film on your own or do some more research or Googling on your own, whatever you feel that you need to do. The next video will begin Act 2. And as always, do not hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help. Thank you and stay well. Bye.